it's 3:32. We'll go ahead and get started. All right, so welcome to Managing Local PD in NCEES. We're going to take a look at PD and how we manage that. I did put in the chat, Kimberly's gone to do dismissal, so I put in the chat the slides link so you guys can have that. And so you just unmute as you want to. We're using WebEx. So you guys have been with me before, so you can use your chat to ask questions or unmute and ask questions. Since we're so small, I'm fine if you unmute and just ask questions as we go.
Okay. Is this the presentation you sent me already?
Did I send, not sure if I sent you this one, Nishan.
Okay.
This is for using the PD office. I may have sent one from last year. This will be similar if I sent you the one from last year.
Okay.
All right, so I am Cami Nairn. I'm your NCEES product manager at DPI, and Jennifer Bass is my colleague. She was going to try to join to help facilitate any questions, but she didn't know she could, so hopefully she'll get here. I see we have one more person. Hey, Mark. I'll copy the slides link for you. Put it in there. All right. There's the slides for today. And the purpose of our training today is to cover in depth how to manage a local NCEES PSU PD office in the PD component of NCEES to create all kinds of learning opportunities. We're also going to take a quick look at Attendance mobile app, the PD playlist, and Transfer Credit Manager. We will have a longer webinar later this year on PD playlist and Transfer Credit Manager. This is DLC aligned, so you can see that there. And we're going to get started. All right, so we want to think about PD and what we need to develop for our staff and our teachers and all our other staff that need to take professional development, what they need to take. And on the screen is some of the fields that are in our NCEES PD office. So we would, of course, your name of the learning opportunity that you're offering, a description of it, who is going to be your target audience. Are you going to align it to the standards, or are you going to align it to focus areas such as DLCs or other areas, English language arts, things like that. We do have to enter the credit hours when we create a professional development opportunity, and the credit type. Currently, NCEES only allows one credit type at a time to be entered, but I'll show you later how you can fix that later. And then the type and location of the learning opportunity, is it going to be instructor-led? Most of you guys will be building out instructor-led opportunities. And then you need to decide a maximum number of participants. There is a self-paced option, but currently our districts don't have an LMS that connects. So like if you were, like we build out self-paced at DPI and it connects to our blue canvas. So we don't right now have a way for your LMSs to directly connect to a true self-paced, but you would still need a way to mark people complete. And then any resources that will be needed for that learning opportunity. I do have a link to a document here. I'll put that in the chat that has these fields in it if it helps plan out your PD. Hey, Wendy, I see Wendy's joined us. I see you out there twice, Wendy. Let me put the link to the slides one more time since Wendy just joined us. And it's going to ask you to copy that document, so you just click make a copy. And then these are just all the questions that we just looked at. So just some ideas for you to be thinking about when you build your PD and NCEES, what you want to build, what you want to include. All right, so I would like, if you guys have NCEES up, if you would navigate to NCEES, and I'll share this on the screen as well. Oops. We're going to be searching for course 23077. I put that in the chat. 23077. All right, so we're going to go to NCEES. All right, and we're going to navigate to professional development. I want you to see what a course participant sees when they're looking at a course, so we can think about what we need to put in that course for them to either read about or learn about before they decide to sign up for the course. So we're going to look up course 23077, and you can follow along because if you sign up in here today, I can award your credit through here today. All right. Does anybody need time to search for that course if you want to do this?
Give me a second.
Yep. So when you search for a course, and we're looking for course 23077, and this is only going to be out here long enough for our presentation today. But when you publish a course, it does show up out here. This is kind of like our catalog. So, and we've looked up the card number, and it's 23077. And I have this information about my course. I can see it's instructor-led. I can see the title of it. And then I've written in a description. I've also included that it was DLC aligned. So sometimes this information is important in here so staff can provide artifacts if they want. So if this was for general credit, but it's also DLC aligned and maybe their district will approve it to be DLC, they need something to provide to their district as an artifact or proof that it is DLC aligned. So I put that in there, and then I put it cannot apply to credit types of general and DLC. So just think about what you want on this first page as to what the course is about, and then maybe what credit types it could apply to. The credit also shows here. So today, since it's an hour and a half, we were doing 0.15, and I did align it to DLC instead of general.
Yay.
Instructor-led courses, they must have a section that you register for, but before we register, we're going to click on the title. And this is, I hope they redesign this a little bit when they do, they are giving us a much cleaner PD page. The way it looks, it's really fantastic. Sometime next year. But I do want to show you that if you clicked on the title, you see that same information, but then our tabs change and I have more course details. So we always tell folks to please click on your titles and read all the course details because you might get other information, like you need to email somebody at the end of your course or provide a documentation of what you did in the course through here. So, and then if they've attached any files they would show here. This is just a little picture that I just linked so you can see that you can attach files for people to see where it's available. So I'm in the training location. You guys are in North Carolina location. And if I had not put North Carolina on here, when you search for that number, you would not have found it. So is it required for any certain demographics? Usually we don't set this much at the course level. And you saw up here this word recommend. Principals can recommend courses to staff, so they can do that on their own. Course creators, though, you can recommend it to a certain demographic of staff as well when you're setting up your course, and we'll look at that. And then, or am I providing any resources? So I put those in there. And is it aligned to focus areas? So my focus areas I chose that it aligned to were the DLCs supporting PD, and then the specific DLCs that align to. And then if you do align it to standards, we'll take a quick look at that. I tried to find some standards that help back that up as well to meet that DLC credit type. So notice also that if it's instructor-led, it's going to have this section. So even if you didn't register on that first page, you still have the register button here. But before we do that, notice I have a resources. So when we go set up our course, we're going to talk about adding resources. Currently, they're grayed out right now because I have not registered for the course. But I can come over here and I can see I have a book that somebody wants me to read. I have a website somebody wants me to go to. I have PowerSchool help links about professional learning and creating PD. I can also create a resource. This is a document. You can attach documents under resources as well. So just different things you can add to your courses or your PD opportunities to provide additional resources for your staff that are doing these courses. So when we go back to sections, they again can see the section title. If you click on that, it again just gives you your section information. Who is the instructor? So now I can see who the instructor is. And again, I still have my register button. So if you're ready to register, you can go ahead and register. It's a two-step process. I did want to point out this little report right here. How much credit do I have? If you, and this is credit in NCEES, not credit everywhere, but credit that's stored in NCEES, you can print that out here. And then just click next, and you should be registered for the course.
Are we going to get a certificate? Because I didn't print it.
Yes, so yeah, you will. So your certificate will show up, and I'll show you real quick on my courses.
The transcript.
If you've not been out here
Okay.
before, it's in the My Courses container, and there's a button for My Transcript.
Okay.
So here's the course we just signed up for, where you could go look at everything. You could withdraw from the course if you wanted to. And then here's my transcript. Once I complete it, instructor-led courses have to be, somebody has to manually complete me. And so that would look like the second line here. They wouldn't see these edit buttons. This is where, if this was general credit, my district approved it to be DLC, then a DA, a district administrator in NCEES, could come edit and change this to DLC over here. So that's where that's done. But this is where your certificate is awarded right here, the link. So that's where they would get that. All right. All right, so let's get into looking at PD. And just want to show you that so you know what you're doing next. All right, so in the PD office, NCEES calls courses learning opportunities, because they can be more than just a course. You might have PLCs you're awarding credit for, different things like that. So here's just some different things that people have used NCEES for. State level mandates, you're doing a presentation or something that's going to earn credit based on a state level mandate. School level book studies, they could go in as PD opportunities in NCEES. Any regional PD can also go in there. Your PLCs, maybe there's people that are earning, put goals in their PDP plan. Remember how I align my course to standards? It will show up in the observations of the staff. They have a little light bulb on their observation standards. Whenever a course is aligned to a standard, it pops a little light bulb up either to the standard or the element or both, depending on what I picked. And then the staff can go in, click on the light bulb. They say, I'm trying to develop my leadership goals. What can I find for observation 1? They just click on that light bulb and find my course. And then also principals can use the light bulb to assign courses to people. So district department-led PD, that could award credit. All of that can award credit. So in our PD office, the roles that are in there, we're going to look at those. You have the PD office administrator. They can create courses without getting anybody's approval. So they don't have to submit their courses for approval. So a lot of our districts just use the PD office administrator to create the learning opportunities. They can verify certificates, say somebody's turned in a certificate somewhere and HR calls me, says, is this a real certificate from NCEES? And they give you the certificate number, you can look it up. And then manage recurring dates. So maybe you have courses that need to meet every third Tuesday or something like that. You can set up recurring dates and then use those in your course setup. And then managing other office level roles. So this person can add other people. The next one is the course requester. That's an office level role, and they can create courses and their corresponding sections. They submit those for approval. The PD office administrator cannot approve a course requester's course. It has to be a final approver. Now, the PD office administrator can also have final approver, have 2 roles. That's fine. Or maybe you just want a separate person to be a final approver if you're using course requesters. So just remember, course requester creates courses, submits them for approval. The final approver either denies them or they approve them. If they deny them, it goes back with a message. The requester fixes whatever needs fixing and resubmits it for approval. All right, so we're going to look at creating a new learning opportunity, and that's navigating to system administration, course administration, and create new learning opportunity. Here are your help guides for this process. I just included links there for creating the course itself, and then for creating or adding the settings. We're going to look at those. All right, so this is what the navigation that I just told you: system administration, course administration, create new opportunity, new learning opportunity, instructor-led course. All right, so this is just telling you what the difference between an instructor-led course and a self-paced course is. There's 3 parts to an instructor-led course. You have to create, I call it the shell. You're gonna set up how much credit type they get and what credit. And then you're gonna set the settings in that second document, and then you're gonna create a section. The self-paced just has the shell for the CEU and then set the settings. So that doesn't have a section. People start self-paced courses and people register for instructor-led courses. Here is just a look. We're going to go back live in a minute, but here's a look at some of the menu options in the system. So we're going to concentrate on instructor-led because that is what you're going to be looking at and doing. So instructor-led, when you create your course, you have these menu options here. Edit to edit the course, sections to edit any sections. You need to set the location of who can see your course once you publish it. Are you going to set if it's required for people to take or recommended or restricted? You're going to manage your resources, do those focus area, align any standards. You can also manage email messages, delete it or copy it and make a new course. The sections, if you were to click on sections, has these options: edit your section, manage your section, which is reviewing it. Viewing doesn't have any edits, just so you look at it and see if you set it up all right. View the roster. This is where you're going to see who's registered for it or where you add people to the roster. And then copy registration link is very handy. What if I create a course and I don't really want it out there for everybody to find and register for, but I do want certain people, maybe all my ITFs, to take this course. So I could create a course, I could release it, but not put it in a location. And then I could come out here, get this, copy registration link and send the registration link to the people I want to take the course. If they're not already logged into NCEES, it will prompt them to log into IAM and then take them straight to the registration page. All right, and then if you wanted to cancel a section, I wouldn't do that if it's been in use, or if you wanted to copy it and create a similar section, so for next year, and just keep the main course going. If you ever need PowerSchool's help in NCEES, there is a PowerSchool help. It's the little blue question mark. I think it's in a circle now in NCEES, and then you can go look for help in different areas of NCEES, and we'll look at that. All right, so let's go live before we get lost here. So if you want to follow along live in your system, I do apologize for not having training accounts. PowerSchool has not gotten my system ready for us to use today. So we're going to go to system administration. Let me go home first. We'll start from the beginning. All right. And I will show you how to archive a course if you want to follow along and just create a test course in your PD Office. Does anybody not have a PD Office to work in? Then you would like to follow along, or you just want to watch? Everybody good? You can put that in the chat, or you can unmute and let me know. I can add you to my training account if you want to use my training account.
You may want me, I want to use your training account.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to show you how to go.
When
I'm
you
going
say
to go.
PD office, are you talking about Canvas?
No. So if you opt into home base, you can use a PD office in NCEES. It's the second component of NCEES. So I went to system administration, course administration, and then we have offices. So this is where districts, there's Alamance Burlington, Alexander County, charter schools are out here, they're creating courses for their district to take locally. And when they publish their courses, only their people in their district see their courses.
Okay.
Okay. So this is where you could put any credit earning opportunity out here for your districts to take. So you want to be, I'm going to put you in my training office. All right, so this is where we're going to assign roles. Remember I talked about assigning roles. And the first role is office administrator. Then there's the final course requester and the final approver. Most of you would only be at one office. You wouldn't see a whole list like I do. All right, so Deshawn, what is your, I can search by name, I think. It's Dawson, right?
Dawson.
Had a little brain glitch there. Okay. Dawson. All right, so.
Yep, that is.
Are you at Craven?
Yes.
Okay. All right, does anybody else want to be in the training office? All right, Kimberly's going to watch. Okay. All right, I'm going to click done. All right, now it's added you. Hopefully that's fairly quick. You may need to refresh NCEES and then go to system administration, course administration. Every once in a while I've seen it take a few minutes. And you should be able to then see the links. So Nishan, just let me know if you can't get in there later. All right.
Okay.
So I see a lot more links than you do. You're going to see home, the verify the certificate. This is where you can come verify that certificate. Just put in the number and say get certificate information. Manage learning opportunities. You'll see that. So if your office has courses, then you'll see those. Just put it whatever office you're in. If you're at more than one office, you can manage all your courses. Create new learning opportunity is what we're going to learn today. So we're going to click on that. And we're going to create instructor-led course. It's very simple. It takes very little time, especially if you've got it planned out. I don't have a course number. My menu is grayed out right now because I haven't fully saved a course yet. So I would just enter my title. And you can just make up something. So how do I know what's required to enter out here? Anything in NCEES that's required has an asterisk, and it's always very little. So look for those little asterisks. Then you can put in your course description. And remember, this is where I put in all the description. I put in what credit types it could belong to, just so I have a quick place for my participants to go view what they might need later to turn into their districts and to tell them what the course is about. I'm going to put this in my training site. I think it was named DPI training. Hang on. Well, don't let me search right here. LMN. Oh, had it up at the top. All right, training office. All right, the next area that's required is the course provider. So you guys will be choosing non-Moodle because you don't have an LMS that's going to connect here. I will show you in the resources where if you did build out a course in an LMS, you can put a link in your resources. So there's non-Moodle, Moodle, we still have Moodle connected, so if you wanted to use that for a while, but I'm thinking eventually that will go away. PowerSchool is looking for another LMS to connect to the system, but right now Moodle is still out there. It is not an upgraded Moodle, but it's still workable and doable. Don't worry about PCG Pepper. Not sure why they can't hide that. And then DPI is the only ones that can use the blue Canvas link there. So non-Moodle. And then the credit type. How long is your course? If it's an hour long, you know it's 0.1. If it's 10-hour long, it's 1 credit. So if this is a 10-hour long course, then I would put 1.0. And then choose a credit type. The rest of this is optional. Do you have a funding source that you need to make a record of on your course setup? The PD type, is it a face-to-face event? Is it an instructor-led online course? Different things like that. How long, you can put in how long it is. So I'm going to put 10 hours since I put 1.0 credits. Prerequisites. So this first box is optional prerequisites that they don't have to take, but you would like them to take. So you can put a list out here. The next one down is enforced prerequisites. And this is where you would already have courses set up. So maybe you have PLC 1, PLC 2, PLC 3, and they need to take those in order. So you would go search for those courses. You can also do a list all to list all the courses that are enabled that you could choose from, and then select. I don't know if it's going to load up in time. And then you could select that, and they would have to take that course before they signed up for this course, and it would let them know that. It would let them know they have a prerequisite to do. So I'm probably going to wish I hadn't clicked on that. It's going to take a while. There's not an escape. Oh, there it goes. All right. So if I did want to choose one, I would just click the box. I don't know if it chose it. It didn't. It clicked out. It didn't choose it. So it would show up here. You could always remove it later. And then any additional notes you want to have out here that didn't make sense to put in the course description can go down here. Most people don't read a lot when they're looking at things, so I would put as much information together in one spot. Now, do you want this participant to enroll in multiple sections of the course? So you're going to have to think about your course. Do they need to do section 1, section 2, section 3, and section 4? So then you would want to check this box and allow them to enroll in all the sections of the course. Or are you doing a section for your teachers this day and a section for your cafeteria folks the other day? Then you would not want to allow people to do multiple sections, just the one that they're supposed to go to. Course surveys, these are standard surveys that were built out years ago in NCEES. I don't have a good way to let you see the questions. And so Dr. Sox and I were going to update these, but now he's retired. So I'm going to look at these later and try to update them. But most people use this instructor-led course survey if you want a course survey on your course. You can also assign this at the section level. What happens is people have to take the survey. They earn their credit when they complete a course, but it doesn't let them have their certificate until their surveys are complete. So think about that before you assign the survey. Now, if you assigned it at the section level, you can put an end date on that survey so that if they've decided not to fill the survey does go away at some point and they get their certificate. Do not require section start and end times. If you're going to use the mobile app to take attendance or do attendance, you do want to require section start and end times. But if this is just a course that's instructor-led, but it's not at a set time, you may want to check that box. Here's where I attach that file. And here's later when the course is done and everybody's completed and I'm ready to archive the course, I come back out here and check this box. But right now, we're not going to check that. We're going to click Create Instructor-Led Course. Okay, so notice now I have my course number right here, the title and everything all set up. I'm going to need a section on my course. I notice also that our menu is now available for all the different areas. These things over here are also on the right-hand side. Edit lets me edit what I just set up. Okay. Let me see if I can just save that. There is a save as draft. They say you have like, I want to say 60 minutes to set this up. But notice it didn't, it really, if I hadn't been talking, I would have been done in less than 5 minutes to set that up. So now I want to create a new section. And I'm just going to copy my title. And I do want to say section 1. If this was at a location, this is where I would put in the street address, the city, the state, and the zip code. If I have a room number that we're meeting in, who's my contact person can go in here in the contact email. This is required. How many people can sign up for my course? So maybe I'm limiting this course to 30 people. Do I want to allow a wait list? You can do that. You just check this box. And how many people do I want to have on the wait list? Let's just do 15. And if people were to register and then drop out, the next person in line rolls up into the participant list if they're on the wait list. When is my course going to start? It's going to start on the 16th. It's a 10-hour course that we're doing all in one day. Ooh, it's going to be a long day. So we're going to end it on the 16th. When do I want people to end registration by? You can stop it at any point. You can even stop it after the course. I'm going to stop it on the day of the course. You can do that too. When do I want to cut off my wait list? I'm going to cut that off earlier. So maybe I'm going to cut that off on the 15th. All right, and then what time is my course? So I'm going to start it at, we're going to start it at 8 a.m. We're going to forget that it's a 10-hour course, and we're going to end it at 5 p.m. I mean, you get the gist. You do have to have start and end times in here. It needs an asterisk here, and I'm going to re-ask PowerSchool for those. So just take note. You do have to put some kind of start and end times, even if you don't have, even if it's something they can go to off and on throughout the day. So usually if it's a course that I don't have an actual start and end time, then I'll come out here and I'll do like 12 a.m. to 11:55 p.m., something like that. Here's the other place you can add surveys. And if you want to end your survey, it's down here, survey deactivation. This survey, you can say, when do I want this survey to go out? When they end it, the day after the course, so I could pick the day after the course for the survey to go out. And then let it be out there for, let's say, 7 days. This you don't have to do yet, but you could release the section now. Nobody sees it until you put a location on it. So we could release it now, or I could release it on that day. I'm going to release it at 7. It only gives me 2 options, 7:30 a.m. on the 16th. That's the day of our course. So now they can get to the course as of that day. The system will automatically turn it on. Instructors will set in a minute. If you want to enable discussions, NCEES does have a discussion board. Somebody has to manage it. I've never used it, so think about that. Most people have a different area in their systems to use discussions, but it is out here if you wanted to try it. And then if you have any specific section notes, they would go here. Leave this on in progress until the whole course is complete. Another place to attach a file, and then you click create. Does anybody want to see anything over before we click create or have any questions? Okay. So it's spinning. Here's that little PowerSchool help. If you don't remember what some of these fields are for, you can click on that little box and it tells you what all the fields are for. So now I can review what I've entered out here, make sure I've entered everything as I want it to be. I haven't set my class times yet. I did set a start and end time, but I haven't done this yet. And I haven't set my instructors yet. So once we've saved it, now I get the buttons for setting instructors and class times and going and managing my roster. So I'm going to do instructors. Has to be somebody in NCEES. So you put in their name. See if this is big enough for y'all to see. Put in their name and click Find User. It will find, if there's more than one name, make sure you pick the right one. And click Add User. And now my instructors are here. Now, if your instructor is not in NCEES, then you might want to list them as the contact person or put their name and information in the notes of the section. All right, so done. And let's look at class times. You do need to set this if you want to print out a QR code and use the mobile app to track attendance. So the QR code is really nice. So I'm going to add a new class time. Since I've already set class time, it will populate it for me. There is another area in the system where you can set recurring dates. So maybe this is a course that needs to meet, since this was 10 hours, I could do a recurring date. Currently, I just have one to choose from out here, Monday, Friday, weekly. But that's where you would add those and add them down below. Okay, you can keep adding class times or I'm just going to stick with my set class time. So we're going to do save and exit. All right. Anybody have any questions about how to set up your course? All right, we're going to go look at managing the course before we go view our roster. Because there's some areas we've not set yet. So we've done the main setup. The course CEU shell is done. My section is done. I do want to decide if I want to publish it to people to see or if I'm going to come down and use the copy registration link. Now you can use copy registration link with it published or without it published, either one. So the location availability. Right now, I kind of think of this course as being on the bookmobile, and I need to tell the bookmobile where to go, send it to somebody. So I'm going to set my locations. You guys will see district, and then you will see your school. So this has got a lot of schools in it. Or you can actually drill down to school and then select each school to add who it needs to go to. Maybe you want to send this course to all your high school people to look at, or all your middle school or your elementary school people to look at. You can add school by school. You could add your lead at those schools to be an office administrator to manage the roster, or set them as a teacher to manage the roster of the courses that they're going to have at their schools. So I'm just going to add to a school. And now it will show up when, if anybody was at Buncombe School 1 and they wanted to search for my course, they will find it. If they're at Buncombe School 2, they will not find that course because I've not added that school. All right, and then it tells me who I've published it to. All right. And then required demographics. These are all similar. You do have to enable them. So maybe this is a course for, let's do instructional folks. I'm going to enable it and then see what I can drill down into. Notice when I enabled instructional, it turned blue. And now I can decide how I want to divvy this out. Classifications is tricky, so I would not use classification because it doesn't come in cleanly to NCEES because the classifications we use are old. Until modernization is in place, we're going to wait to redefine our classification codes. But you could do by certification year. Those should be coming in correctly. If you wanted to put everybody that's in year 1, 2, and 3, maybe this is for beginning teachers, you could do that. You could also go by what evaluation type they're assigned, and either abbreviated, standard, or comprehensive. Notice late hire is not a choice out here. You can also say, I want this course to be required for all one of these roles to take. Teacher classroom, teacher RTC, master teachers, any one of those. Maybe this is a course for my social workers, and click save. And now it's out there. All right, and if I decided I didn't want it, I can delete demographics, so I can click this box and I can disable this instruction. Okay, if you set up groups in NCEES, you could attach a group here. All right, so that's who should be required to take that course. Recommended is the same setup, so we won't go through that. Restricted is you're restricting the course from showing to the person you pick. It's going to show to everybody else but them. So it's the same setup. You're going to click on there and restrict it. All right. So manage resources. This is where, remember, we saw the tab that said, oh, resources, and they were all grayed out because we hadn't registered for the course. This is where we add resources. So you have choices here. If you ever need anything else out here, I can add to the resource types. Just let me know. So if I had a website, maybe I wanted everybody to go to dpi.nc.gov. Let's see, it would be HTTPS. Oh, that's the name. And then, can't remember if it's www or not. All right, and then you put your URL in. You could put some tags out here, a description out here. I've never used the resource HTML, but if you want to put something out there with HTML code, that's right there. If you're going to attach a picture, it puts a little thumbnail on your resource, but the thumbnail is only 30 by 30 pixels, so it's very tiny. So when you attach the file, it needs to be 30 by 30. And then you click save, and it adds the resource. The reorder resources is once you've added several resources, you can put them, you can slide them one from the top to the bottom, put them in a different order. And then the find resource is it gives a list of all the resources that are already, somebody else has posted out here, so you could look through those if you wanted to. All right, so this one shows up in a modal window, or you can have the resource open up in a separate browser window. Okay, and we're done. So that's where you do the resources, and it shows up on that other tab. Now the focus areas, all of these things also help people search for courses, because when they're searching for courses in professional development, they could search by focus areas. So maybe they are looking for the DLCs, so they can come out here and look for those. And if you've not aligned your course to that, then they won't find it that way, but they will find courses that people have used these subjects. And make it a little bigger so you can see. So we have several out here for you to select from. And if districts want others, we can add those. For instance, a union wanted to align their courses to their local district strategic plan. So we came up with 5 areas that would overall meet statewide people's district strategic plans. And so we've got those 5 areas of the plans. So those are available statewide now because Union County asked for them. We've added the DLC competencies as well. You can align those to those. MTSS, ISTE, and then we've just got a premium library, just updated a lot of things in their system. These are the paid for courses, so I would not align them to anything in premium library. Once you click something, you do have to scroll all the way down to click save. Excuse me just a minute. Sorry about it. All right, and then lastly, we want to look at aligning your standards. So you do really have to think about who you want this to show up to, and remember that it does turn that light bulb on in the observation rubrics in the standards. So maybe I want to align this course to all my teachers. So it is actually, if you did teachers, you would have to do two things. You would have to do the abbreviated teacher evaluation process and the teacher evaluation process. And then you might want to come back and include teacher leadership specialists, anybody that's a teacher role out here. So I'll just leave it on abbreviated. So that way the light bulb will show up for each of those areas. And you would just click either by the standard or by each element that you think it aligns to. And then click align the elements. And there's different other areas out here if you wanted to show up people's self-assessments, or if you're doing courses for your social workers, then I would align it to their standards. All right. Any questions about how to align the standards? All right. So now your course is set up. I did want to show you here is where you can go back in and edit the section, manage your section, view your section. Here's the copy registration link. And let's do a tab, show you what that looks like. So when you share the copy registration link, I'm already logged in Chrome. They only get this page. They don't get the course page. They get the sections page. So they won't see right now those areas, but I could register and say next. And I can go back to my course list. And if I were to click on the title, now I can get to those sections and resources. And now those resources are no longer grayed out because I've registered. All right, so I want to go back to my slides. Everybody good? Anybody have any questions? Y'all are quiet. All right, so I do have screenshots going through everything we just did. We looked at the settings and setting all the different areas for your settings. How to set it and publish it to just certain schools or for your district level. How to do targeted and recommended or restricted demographics. How to add your resources. The resources are a good place if you did build out a course in Google Classroom or whatever you guys are using, Canvas, you could put the link to your course in the resources. All right, and aligning your standards. And we talked about creating sections. So we won't go through all that. Here's where we have our class times. We're going to take a look at the roster in just a minute. So here's the additional settings for the roster. So that's what we're going to get into next. And then we'll take a look at, well, I'm going to show you the mobile app. Then we're going to look at the roster and show you where you can get the QR code for your mobile app. So the mobile app is linked at the top of your navigation, and it just says mobile app. There is a code in the middle of the page. There's capital K, lowercase e, capital XU4S. That is the code that everybody uses. It's not district specific, it's statewide. So they can come out here, get the performance. I think it says PowerSchool now. It's PowerSchool mobile app now, but it still uses that same code. They'll get this. If they're the instructor, they'll see that they are instructing the course that they've signed up for, that they're on, they've been assigned to. If once they register for a course, if they're a participant, they'll get the attending view on their courses. Now you can print out the QR code in a sign-in sheet for everybody to take their devices and scan as they go in, and it will mark them attended. Or you can scan their QR codes, their individual QR codes on their device, and mark them attended as they go through the door, either way. You can print out these table tents with the QR codes. You also, as an instructor, if you just want to go in and you're in the room, you also can look at the roster and check mark people attended while they're in the room. Okay, so let's take a look at that real quick. We're going to go back. I'll show you where the mobile app is first, and then we're going to look at the roster here. Might be called Unified Talent mobile app now. But you just come out here, you get this code, you go to your Apple Store or your Play Store at Google Play and download the app on your device. Enter your code when it tells you to when you're signing up. And there's also instructions on how to use the app here for participants and instructors as well. All right, so I told you we're gonna look at the roster. And I will have another webinar later on just these buttons and the roster setup. So if you want to come back later and watch that, we'll do a settings area as well. So this is the roster page. It's got my course number, section number, start and end date, and then all these buttons. Down below, I can see who's already registered for my course. If I've already published it, I can see who's registered. I can remove them. It's not remove them from the list or move them over to the wait list. So if I'm managing my course before it started, maybe somebody from the wait list needs to move on and somebody else needs to move off. So you can move them from there. Up here is the Add Learner button. I just want to show you these real quick. So you can come add people one at a time. Let's see. You just have to put their name in, click search, and then you can click this box. You can decide if they should get a email, a registration confirmation, or if I'm putting them on the wait list. So then I would leave this one here. So if I don't want either, just uncheck them. And then click Add User. And now that person's on there. The other Add User button is Add Learner Advanced. This is good if you're creating a course after the fact. Maybe you held an event, you've got your list of everybody that attended. It's also helpful right now if you just want to put people on the roster and then let them know, hey, you're on the roster, we're going to start the course on such and such a date. Here's your link to get into the course. So what you need to do is know their UID number. That is their employee ID. It's also their username in NCEES. Or you need to know their email addresses. So let's do, we're going to do email addresses. All right. And I put these in new lines. So one line was after the other. So I'm going to leave that on new line. You can also do comma separated list, or a tab separated list. What do I want to do with these folks? Right here, do I just want to add them to my roster? They're going to come take my course on Friday. Or my course happened last week and I want to add them to the roster and mark them attended and mark them complete. I could check that. Or I just want to add them to the wait list. They told me they wanted to join my course, but it's full right now. So I'm going to add them to the wait list. So we're going to just add to the roster. Do I want to send them a registration confirmation? I can check that email as well, or the wait list confirmation. I'm not going to do this right now because it does take like an overnight processing now. So it will hold up the rest of what we're looking at right now. So I do want to preview, and I would want an email to know when it's been done. So I'm just going to preview first, just to show you what it does. Preview shows up down below. So notice here it found one of my folks, but it didn't find the other one, and that's because I on purpose typed the email incorrectly. So the emails do have to be correct in NCEES, and I do have to enter a correct email here as well. So if I can come back up here and I can edit this email and resubmit, preview, or I can just go ahead and add the one user that is okay right now. So right there. So I'm going to cancel that. Well, I can go ahead and add one user. No, I don't want to do that because I said it's going to hold up. It does. It processes now. So just remember that if you're mass adding people, it does take an overnight processing usually. Sometimes it'll be done quicker than that, but sometimes it takes overnight. All right, and here's where I wanted to show you the sign-in sheet, and then we'll move on to the rest of what we wanted to look at today. So here is my sign-in sheet. I've got my list of people that are on my roster. I can print it out. Here's that print section code. So notice now I got a sign-in sheet with the QR code that people can scan as they go in, as they go by. All right, and then it's also here. You could also open the image and download it and use it elsewhere, send it out. I have too many tabs open. All right, we're going to go back here again. We were on sign-in sheet. So that's the sign-in sheet. It's very handy. You could use that. Make sure you set those class times, though, to use this sheet. All right, as you processing your course, you're going to want to mark them or grade them later. So I just clicked on, let me go back. I did that a little fast. Grade roster status. You can mark everybody complete all at one time, right here. And it changes them down here. And then I save the page and they're all complete. I can either, what if I had a couple that didn't complete, but most people did, I can mark everybody complete, then I can come down here and put everybody else back either registered or incomplete and save this page. Okay. And that was just like a quick little walkthrough on how to use this. Can you think of anything that you might want to do? Is anybody already building courses in NCEES for your district? Y'all are so quiet today.
To build these courses, do you have to have a UID and the blue canvas to access the courses?
No, these are your local courses. So that's what I'm showing you how to build. And they would go in your local office. And no, you don't have to, because you would not be choosing blue canvas. You would choose non-Moodle. And then you would use your resources if you wanted to link to your LMS. Use your resources to put the link there.
Okay.
Does that help?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So maybe I can show you, let me show you maybe Buncombe County. They do a lot of courses. to show you kind of what they put in here. So it looks like they're starting new. So Montgomery County, yep. There's an ambassador program, ThingLink and Symbaloo in the classroom, website development for teachers, just all kinds of things you can put out here that they're earning credit for. Oh, it wasn't Buncombe. I know what it was. It was Brunswick. They put all their staff's credit in NCEES. Brunswick County does.
Okay.
So they might be, and I have a person that's come to DPI from Brunswick County. If you want me to put you in touch with her, she is awesome at this.
Yes.
So if you look at all of this, that's Kathy Oliver, and I can give you her email address. So look at all these different ones that they're putting out here. General Summit, their C Summit that they do. If you ever wanted to hold regional events, I can help you get those published to the other regions, those courses. So they put everything out here.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions? All right, we're going to go back to the slides if you don't. So Transfer Credit Manager is where your teachers and staff or you could submit a credit request for something that was not in NCEES. So you took a Friday Institute course or you went to a regional event somewhere. They've awarded you credit or certificate, and you would come out here to Transfer Credit Manager and submit a request. There is a big warning at the top of this page now to not submit a request if you don't know who your approver is, because it will just sit there in limbo. Nobody's going to see it unless you have an approver in place. So here they would click new request and they would submit that request, and we'll go take a look at that. The disclaimer here, districts wishing to have staff enter credit requests through Transfer Credit Manager must open a support ticket to DPI so that we can set the rights for somebody to be your credit approver. Because if your staff is going to submit credits this way, instead of taking their certificate down to Miss Johnny in the office, this is a way you could have them submit those credit requests, approvals. So there's a couple layers to it. There's managing the requests, and that's the people that are going to be approvers. We've done a lot of work with this recently. We have realized that any credit approver must also be a district administrator in your district, which causes issues with some districts because, and I don't blame them, they really restrict who has district administrator rights. And their approver, a lot of times they want the approver to be somebody that shouldn't see everybody's plans. So understand that. There is a way around that, it's a workaround, is to give somebody the administrative level of Transfer Credit Manager, because you could be a user and add it there, but then you have to go find your people and it doesn't automatically let you know that they've submitted something. All right, so the other one is to manage bulk requests, and that would be the administrator. You could do an event there. So this is another area. If you were going to hold school-wide events for all your high schools, you could put that bulk event in there and then do that mass add people like I showed you for the PD courses in Transfer Credit Manager and award them credit. So we're going to go take a quick look so you know what I'm talking about. So, Transfer Credit Manager. So here's the note, before using this page, verify your district has an approver to approve your requests. The teachers are only going to see the My Requests. So what they would do is they would have My Requests already up. They would create a new credit request. And again, anything with an asterisk is required. Whoops. Here the description is required because we're assuming you want approval for something. I need to know what what it is. I don't need just a title. I need a description of it. If you want to make it pretty, you have all the little widgets out here to bold and italicize and all that. What date did you do this event? Maybe I did it last Thursday. What date did I complete it? It was also last Thursday. How many hours was it? Maybe it was a 2-hour course that it took. So I put hours, sorry, 2 for hours. And the next section is for what credit type am I asking for? So I'm going to be asking for DLCs, and so I would want 0.2 DLCs. Technology is still out here because we do have folks that earn technology credits in the past. However, technology as a credit type has been discontinued. It was discontinued 5 years ago, but it was phased out because districts were still using it. But so now it's completely out of NCEES, but we've left it here and told you it's discontinued. We can't totally take it out because it would take technology credits off people's transcripts that they've earned. So that's there. Do you want them to attach their certificate or badge or whatever they earned, their evidence of completion? And these are not required, so you would need to, at the local level, tell people if it's required or not. And then do they need approval signatures attached here? And then they would submit it for approval. They have a chance to enter a note. If they don't want to enter a note, they just click submit. All right. So now here's my request. I can view my approvers, and there are none. So this would just sit out there. All right. Just wanted to show you that they could see who their approver is, but there's not one set for this area. This is where, if you're coming in here as an administrator, you could add yourself. If you knew this was out here, you could add yourself. So I could add myself. They can't add themselves. They shouldn't be able to add themselves. Oh, I put dot. But as an administrator, let me, because I'm a super user. All right. And now I have approvers out here. All right, so it only let me add them. They can't add approvers out there. All right, so now as an approver, I could manage requests. And it shows up to me as an approver. Approvers see the manage requests, and I can come out here and I can look at it. I can see what they want, and I can see they want to 0.2 DLCs, and I'm going to approve that. So I'm just going to click that and add 0.2 DLCs. I could award it a different area here, or I could deny it and send it back, and then they would have to resubmit, fix whatever needed to fix, and send it back to me. So I can approve that. I can add a note, your credit's been approved, and submit. So now that will now show up in my courses on my transcript. Show you what it looks like when it's done through the Transfer Credit Manager. Here's the one we just did, the Transfer Credit Manager, right here. It always says not set, not set, not set. That's how you know it's Transfer Credit Manager. It only puts the title, the date started, ended, and completed. It's not going to give me a certificate because I already earned that at the other place. It is going to give me my credits earned. Here's the course that I set up in the training office. And so notice how it looks different. It does have a title, does have my course and section numbers, does have a certificate link that I can click on. All right, come back to Transfer Credit Manager. So in order to be an approver, as long as somebody's a district administrator, I need to add them. I just need y'all to tell me who that's going to be. Or if you wanted to set somebody to be the manager of the system to get this managed bulk request, we're going to take a look at that. I can add them. They can be user level, but notice as I went to manage bulk requests, now I see everybody in the state's bulk request. It's not showing me any PII information. It's just showing me everybody's requests that were entered as a bulk request. So if I wanted to find something, I can add a filter here for my area or updated by me. So I can find that later. So let's do a new bulk request. And it's over the summer, 80 of my teachers took Friday Institute course. So I'm just gonna, I know they've turned all their certificates already into me, so I'll put in my title, my description, the date that they went to it. You can go back if you want. Maybe they went over the summer. And the hours that it was, maybe it was a 6-hour course or a new 0.6. And maybe it gave them 0.2. I know I did this 6 hours. 0.2 of it was for academics, and then maybe 0.4 of it was for leadership. Now notice this was the suggested. So the credit types here are not required like the hours are. So you could technically skip over this, come down here to the actual credits you're going to award, and put those in. And then you could apply the credits. I'm going to submit it. It's not going to anybody yet because I haven't added anybody. I could come over here now and add my recipients. And here again is add recipients on the right-hand side. I can add recipients one by one or add recipients advanced. It's the same type of screen we looked at before. You need their UID number or their email address. We don't have T&L person IDs. However you put that list over here, then you need to tell us if it's a new line, a comma, or a tab, and you do have a preview button here before you actually add folks. So once that's done, then they'll have that on their transcript as well. So any questions about Transfer Credit Manager? All right, I think the last thing we wanted to look at was our PD playlists. Let me see if I've got it. Oh, right here, PD playlist. Want to come over here real quick? All right, this is where you can take your local courses, the DPI courses that are published in NCEES, and put them on a playlist. So some districts are doing like your MTSS, the group of courses people need to take, the ECATS courses maybe people need to take, or maybe you've got a group of courses for beginning teachers that you always have your beginning teachers take. You can put those in a playlist. The roles in the playlist are playlist moderator. They're responsible for creating and managing the playlist. They can add participants and add the courses on the playlist. They manage all the notifications. And if you're using discussion in the playlist, they moderate that. The curator can be added. They can add or remove participants only. So if you need somebody to help you with adding or removing participants, they can be a curator. The moderator sets that. The credit approver is responsible for reviewing and approving PD playlist credit requests. They have the ability to give a final approval so the playlist becomes visible in the catalog. All right. and the PD playlist participant that you're going to add to the playlist to take the courses. You can set required and elective courses in here, and you can set a rule, oh, it's tiny up here, to complete, like this one says, complete 2 required and 2 of the 4 elective courses. So you can set a rule on what they need to complete for the playlist to show complete. All right, so let's go look at that real quick. So here's your PD playlist page. And this is where you're going to create a playlist. Maybe I want to do ECATS courses. And don't forget, before we're done, we need to release the course. You can always hover over the question mark to let you know what that means. They can't view it until the playlist is released. I can put a description in here. I can put my start dates for my playlist. Start it today. I'm going to end it. Let's end it in June. And then do I want to put this in the course catalog? Most people really don't. They just go ahead and add people to the course playlist, but you could include it in the catalog and then tell anybody that wants to join the ECATS playlist to go search for the playlist on the professional development search page. This certificate, it says enable certificate. This is just an overall certificate for the playlist. If I wanted to do that, I just check that box. It doesn't give them any extra things unless you wanted to allow for extra credit for completing a playlist. So here's the moderators. I have to set your first PD playlist moderator, so you just need to let me know who that would be. And then this moderator can start creating playlists. They can add other moderators to a playlist, so they can create a playlist and then say, Miss Jane, you handle this playlist, you handle the ECATS playlist, so I'm going to add her to that. Same thing as adding before, just search for people's first and last name, check their boxes, and add them to the list. The curator, remember, can add or remove people, but they cannot change anything about the playlist. So if I wanted to add a curator, I would do the same thing here. If I wanted any materials attached, I could attach those there. And then if I wanted to allow extra credit, so for just completing the whole playlist, you can do that as well. I really don't, they're going to get the credit, they're going to get their certificates for each course I add here. So I'm not going to do extra credit. So I'm going to click save. It stays on the page. I need to do other things. So I might want to add my courses. And I want to add courses. All right, so I searched for ECAT, and now I see all my ECAT courses. I'm just going to pick some of them. All right, there's all the ones for the low performing school ones are down here, the ESDB ones, but these ones up here are the regular ECATS courses. All right. I'm going to come back to view courses. And now when I came back to view courses, I can see I've added 8 courses. Do I want these all to be required? And since they're ECATS courses, yes, but if I wanted any of these to be elective, I just move the bullet over to the elective column. It tells me these are self-paced courses. I can also remove any if I accidentally clicked on one I didn't need. Here's where you set the rules. User must complete of these 2 electives, both of them, or one of them. You decide. All right, and then here, of course, is the next tab over is our discussion board. Does not have to be utilized. Just want to show you it's here. You can manage the topics as the administrator, and then manage your topics out here. notifications. All right, so what messages do I want to go out? Do I want to send a message to participants when they're added? Then I would check that box. I would put a title in, a message in. Do I want it to go out through email and targeted announcement, or just email, or just targeted announcement? Targeted announcements show up under this envelope up here. And then the other one over here is to send a message to participants when they're completed. Again, a title, a message, and they are required with asterisks. And then how do I want it to go out? Who do I want, if I chose email, who do I want it to show from? Me as the moderator, or do I just want a generic no reply from PowerSchool? The status page is going to list all your courses out here. It's going to put an asterisk on the required ones, and the ones that are not required but are optional do not have the little red asterisks. Your people's names will list here, and you'll have these little circles going all the way across, so you can see who started and they're in progress, and then you can see who's complete. To add your participants is back on this tab. Up here is, do I want to hide my participant list from everybody seeing it? Do I want to allow participants to invite others? I'm not sure why, but you might want to do that. And do I want to allow participants to withdraw from a playlist I've added them to? So, and then here we go, we can edit participants, and you can set dynamic rules out here as well. So out here, adding a dynamic rule or a staff group. The dynamic rule is looking at like the roles like we looked at before. So you can do role. Nope, that's not what I want. I want demographics. And here's where I want my role. Here's the role in demographics. You might have to scroll a little bit. So maybe this is for teachers out here, so I can do teacher classroom. And you can do multiple dynamics out here. Maybe you only want them at certain schools. So you could drill down in here to just a school. And go all the way down to the school. So Buncombe School 1. So that's how you set a dynamic rule. And then as people join your school and they fall up under that dynamic rule, they'll automatically be added to the playlist. Or you can manually add members like we've already seen, so I won't show that again. Add user or add user advanced. Once you've added them, they'll show up on the list below. All right, and again, we're going to have an expanded version of playlist and transfer credit manager later on this year. So that is how to set up a PD playlist and then monitor it. A lot of districts really like that because it does give the moderator that nice dashboard of check marks, so you can go out and quickly see who is completing their playlist. All right, so I think we're at the end, and y'all have been very quiet, so I hope this has been somewhat informative for you. And I'm always here if you want some one-on-one time. And Nishan, I'll send you that email of Kathy Oliver. So I do want to give you a link to our feedback form. If you signed up and registered for the course earlier, you'll get a certificate in NCEES as well. This feedback form, if you fill it out, the last 2 questions are, do you want a certificate for today, attending today? And then you just need to fill out your name and your email address, and it will be emailed to your email. So you would print out your email and turn that in to whoever's going to be approving your credits for attending today. All right, do you guys have any questions? So we do have some additional webinars. Next week is pretty good for anybody that's taking courses in NCEES and wants to know more about CEUs, where you go find them. What if I'm on leave? What if I want to take credits that aren't in NCEES? How do I find those? different things like that. How do I know what I need to take? So that's for next week, the 20th. And then utilizing PD Playlist and Transfer Credit Manager, that's going to be our extended version and some time to actually go create playlists, and hopefully we'll have our training accounts by then. If you want to look back at some past emails, here's all the ones we've done on PD. And then, of course, you can always contact me. My boss is Matthew Mayo. He's our home-based manager. Jennifer Bass works with me on NCEES for the policy side. And then if you want to set up some office hours with me, the last slide has my office hours link as well. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me and spending an hour and a half. Appreciate it. Any questions before we say goodbye? All right. Well, you guys have a great evening.